Is your magic meter running low? Well, we've got a cure for you. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePauli, and today on the show I have Jeremy from the Mad Chatters podcast joining me. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Jeff.
I have a little bit of a surprise for you.
Oh, I'm excited.
Did you know that you are the Season 6 premiere co-host on Disney Coast to Coast?
I did not know that, but it makes perfect sense because clearly you want to start with the bang, so I'm here.
And the bang is the Move It, Shake It, Mousekedance It street party. Is that what you're referring to?
That's right, yeah.
That's the bang.
I mean, me and the... I was
you.
mostly referring to me. But
you were talking about you. Okay.
Mousekedance It is also important, I guess. But yes. I am honored. Thank you for having me as on the show and as the season opener. It sets the bar high, I know, so I hope everyone else who follows lives up to it.
Okay, great. Let's get into that conversation right now.
It's time to dive into today's Disney dialogue.
Okay, so the Move It, Shake It, Mousekedance It street party is part of Mickey and Minnie's surprise celebration, which, if you don't know, that is the big thing going on right now at the Disney parks of both Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort. And this is very interesting. This is a celebration of Mickey and Minnie's 90th birthday. And this is all very strange to me because Mickey and Minnie's 90th birthday was November 18th, 2018. And Jeremy, have you noticed that they're kind of all over the place with their birthday?
Yeah, this was confusing to me as well because they had that Mickey special on ABC back in November, which really was a nice thing. It was a little whatever, but it was nice. And now all of a sudden we're jumping 2 months later and we're still celebrating Mickey's 90th.
So here's what actually happened. So D23 actually started celebrating Mickey's 90th birthday back in September of 2018. From September 8th through September 30th, they were sending out these Mickey Mouse birthday party kits. I actually got one, and they just sent them to D23 members if you signed up for it, and they were encouraging you to have Mickey Mouse birthday parties in September of 2018 and hashtag and post all your photos from your party. So that started in September. And then, as you mentioned, on November 4th of 2018 was Mickey's 90th Spectacular on ABC, and the actual birthday was on November 18th. And now in 2019, for our 18-month period or whatever it will be, we're celebrating Mickey and Minnie's 90th birthday with Mickey and Minnie's surprise celebration. I think the surprise is that Mickey and Minnie are we're still celebrating. Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's a little much, but my thought was that they were starting in January to kind of get past the holidays. They didn't want to start any big celebrations at the end of November with all the Christmas festivities happening. So from a marketing standpoint and from a practicality standpoint, if that's even the right words, it makes sense.
100%. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what went on. And it just makes me laugh quite a bit. I do like the fact, though, that they're very much with this whole celebration in the parks. They are recognizing the fact that Minnie has turned 90 as well, which, back in 2018 when they were doing their things, that was kind of like an afterthought, Minnie's birthday. So I'm happy that they're recognizing it. It's a good thing.
Yeah, wasn't there a year, though, back in the 80s where it was specifically Minnie focused? I want to say 88 or something like that, where they were specifically focused only on Minnie's birthday. And I feel like that's the only time she's ever gotten love. It's usually it's Mickey's birthday and Minnie.
That's really interesting. Did they, if they did that, my guess is they probably tied it to some merchandising fashion thing. Do you happen to remember if it had something to do with fashion?
Vaguely, it was get your Minnie bag and your Minnie shirts. But I just remember it was the year of Minnie. That was the focus.
I'm all for it. I am all for it. But in any case, this celebration is now going on in the Disney parks, and we are going to talk about the Move It, Shake It, Mousekedance It street party. But before we get into that, I actually just want to know, now these street parties have been around for a while, and we're going to touch on the ones that came before this newest one. But Jeremy, for those folks that don't know what these are. These aren't parades. These are street parties. So can you describe your best effort of what these street parties are like if you've never experienced it?
Well, imagine you're enjoying a day at the Magic Kingdom and you're strolling down Main Street, USA, which is...
I have a feeling I know where this is.
Which, is turn of the century themed. The flags are flying because every day on Main Street is the 4th of July. There's the mayor, may he rest in peace, greeting people, as well as some street performers just enjoying the day. And as the soundtrack of Hello Dolly plays in the background, it all of a sudden cuts off. And very loudly you hear, "Hey, get up, get loud." And here comes a street party that does not fit the theme of the land that it's in at all. But that's okay, because we're going to have a good time. And this happens like 4 or 5 times a day. It's not a one-time occurrence. So if you miss it at 11, you can catch it at 12:30.
Yes. Now, I actually legitimately am a fan of these street parties. Actually, before we get into that, I want to just touch upon something that you said. You mentioned the mayor of Main Street, USA, and he sadly, the performer passed away, I think it was last year, right? In 2018?
That or the year before.
Maybe 2017. I just want to say what a missed opportunity on Disney's part. We so could have elected a new mayor. All I'm saying, I know it's a little bit morbid, but I think that would have been a really good marketing campaign. Elect a new mayor for Main Street, USA. We could have had, I don't know who, definitely a male and a female. And actually, it should be 2 men if we're going to stick with the time period, right? It should be 2 men.
That's true. Women running for office, crazy.
Yeah, not in the 1920s, 1910s. But how much fun would that have been to have had
that
a whole?
That would have been fun, because you remember they did Winnie the Pooh for president back in the day or whatever. So
yeah, I love it. Anyway, as I was saying, I really enjoy these street parties. To be fair, I have never been an Orlando local. So as a local, I think a lot of people have different opinions of these street parties. I think that they're a blast. I think they are the best way, if you have young people with you, to hit up a bunch of the characters all at once in a pretty intimate way. It's not like you're just watching a parade and watching them ride by. You actually get to interact with them, which I think is great. But I know a lot of locals feel differently, and you kind of touched upon that you feel it's out of place and maybe a disruption to the day?
Well, I mean, when they first debuted, because this show now this concept is 10 years old.
Yep.
So when it first came out, I was very against it because it just was obnoxious. And I would think I would have been okay if it happened once a day, but it literally, like I said, was every hour to 2 hours. All day long. You couldn't get away from it. So at first I was very against them, much like a sofa that you buy that's ugly and it sits in your living room and you hate it, and then it kind of grows on you, and then you kind of forget how ugly it is, and you kind of like it because there's memories built around it. That's how I feel about this performance, streetmosphere, whatever we called it again.
It's a street party.
Street party. So it has grown on me. And having seen the newest version of it, I'll admit I liked it.
Okay, so we will get to that. And I do want to say the first one, as you mentioned, was in 2009. It was called Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It Street Party. And this was kind of inspired by, I believe this came first, in March 27th, 2009, Disneyland Park started a new parade called Celebrate a Street Party Parade. And they used a lot of the same concepts, the live performers on the floats, the characters were there, and there's this wasn't like a typical parade. It stopped in different locations, and you actually had this whole street party atmosphere. So that was early 2009 at Disneyland. I believe it was a little later that it inspired the Move It, Shake It, Celebrated Street Party at Magic Kingdom. And we should say, now these floats, they go all the way down Main Street, right? They start down toward the train station?
Not quite to the train station, but they're at the flagpole, where the parade kind of goes out, in between the firehouse and the barber shop there.
Okay.
So it starts there, and it just kind of runs all the way down Main Street, circles the hub, and then that's kind of where it stops and does its thing.
Okay, cool. So that's where it is, and that's where the street party takes place. And now I gotta say, this, First of all, that street party parade that I mentioned at Disneyland Celebrate a Street Party Parade, I was one of like so few people who loved this parade. Like, I loved it. People hated it. And it had this song that you were singing earlier. Hey, get up, that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know the original source of that song?
I don't. I didn't hear it until I heard it in the Move It, Shake It,
Celebrate
it.
It?
Yeah,
Okay.
Celebrate It.
So I love that song so much. And then I found out that this is a Miley Cyrus song called Pumpin' Up the
Really?
Party. And it destroyed everything for me. I was so upset. I was like, I cannot like a Miley Cyrus song. Like, that is horrible. Oh,
You know, it kind of makes sense because, like, I'm not very familiar with some of Miley's older stuff. Now, her last album that was released, really good. Just small plug for that. But like
her actual, because wait a sec, Miley Cyrus is her. Oh yeah, Miley Cyrus is her real name.
Yeah,
I always get
that's
confused
the
if she's
Hannah
Miley or
Montana.
Hannah. I can never remember. Okay.
her Hannah Montana stuff, I never really, got into. I was a little too old for that when it all came out. But like Party in the USA, I think everybody knows that song, or at least has heard it. And now that you say that, I definitely get some Party in the USA vibes from, hey, get up, get loud, pump it up the party now.
Well, it was devastating for me to learn this, but regardless, I will say I have gone and listened to like her version of the song, and I definitely prefer the parade version much more. But yeah, in any case, it happened. Now, in this parade, they had a bunch of characters. I'm just going to go through the list real quick. We had Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Minnie, Baloo, King Louie, Woody, Jesse, Chip, Dale, Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and then the floats are like giant gift boxes, and characters come out of the top of them partway through the show with Genie, Lumiere, Sebastian, and Mad Hatter. Now, Sebastian, you like never see these days. So
yeah, that part I remember being exciting because it was like halfway through the show they introduced the special guests. Let's open the gifts, and they would like pop up, and they never left the top of the gifts, so they would stay up there. Whereas the other characters that you mentioned were able to come off the floats and dance in the street, and that kind of theme continues. So you can get up close to some of these characters, but not all of them. If you've never seen one of these. But Sebastian was cool to see. I do have one slight problem with Sebastian, and this goes to all characters.
His size?
Yes, it's like, that is not Sebastian. He's huge.
But frankly, you can say the same thing about Lumiere.
True. That is so true. And I say the same thing about Boo. Like, anytime Abu meets with Aladdin and Jasmine, it creeps me out. Or Olaf. No, I can't.
Yeah, I have major problems with it, especially when I've just learned to like let it go, but no pun intended. But it's just a little weird when like you're seeing Sebastian in actual size in the ride, and then all of a sudden you see him on a float and he's massive. I'm like, if that were a real crab, that would be nightmare right there.
I mean, have we been shrunk down to the size of a crab?
For this specific moment when you're looking just at Sebastian, you've been shrunk down to the size of a crab. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, but it's just one of those things. It's how it is. In any case, one of the things I loved about this was that it had a live MC and singers that were part of the show. I think that was awesome. Stilt performers, which are still part of the show.
Well, let me correct you for just one moment, because they did have a live MC,
but
they did not have live singers.
Okay, they do now. But
that has been one of the promotions of the newest iteration of this, is that now we have live singing.
Okay, cool. And then, as you mentioned, the guests are invited to dance in the streets. Very like catchy poppy tunes like "We Like to Move It" and "Can You Move It Like This? Can You Shake It Like That?" All that fun stuff. And of course, there's confetti, streamer vests for the dancers, which I love. This whole streamer theme, like Mickey's new costume. I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but Mickey's new costume with the confetti goes like all the way back to Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It, where the vests of the dancers were like all confetti and streamers. So it's kind of crazy how little it's changed, yet they promote the heck out of it. And
there's nothing new.
Yeah, and then they did a huge conga at the end of Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It, which I thought was cool. And it ended with that great song, It's the Time of Your Life, the Celebrate You song, which was like the whole thing about this street party was it's all about celebrating you. It's raise your hands if you're here for your birthday. Raise your hands if you're here for an anniversary. Raise your hands if you're here for the first time. Like, and it was this really big Celebrate You street party. And to me, this is the one that like worked the best as a concept. And then the rest of them are like, okay, how can we change this a bit just to get a little bit of a shake-up to it? They did plus them in some ways, but I don't think they ever made as much sense as this initial Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It street party, which of course people started calling MOUSEKEDANCE.
Yes, they did, which is I love. But yeah, so this really catapulted the whole theme of that year, because I think this is coming off of A Year of a Million Dreams, which was 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. So then the newest theme for the year was the Celebrate You. Every day is a celebration. Yeah. And they were really pushing like, people are here celebrating birthdays, yes, but they're also celebrating anniversaries, and we're celebrating graduation, and we're celebrating our family together. And it was, what are you celebrating today?
Now, I could be wrong about this. I could be remembering incorrectly, but I think this is the year that the whole Celebrate You thing, I'm pretty sure you could get into the park for free on your birthday this year. There was like 1 year that they did that promotion. And now, still to this day, people will ask me like, oh, my birthday's tomorrow. I can get into Disneyland for free. I'm like, no, that was a decade ago. Do not show up expecting to get in for free.
I forgot all about that, but you are absolutely right. That this is the year, and you're exactly right. People still, to this day, to me, tell me, now we're going and we're going to get 3 days, and then my birthday's on this day, and I'm like, that's not how it works. But then the same thing happened. Do you remember they did the year where if you volunteered?
Yes.
And people are like, oh, I was at the Goodwill the other day, so I'm getting my free Disneyland ticket. I'm like, no, you're not.
There is a process. And the cool thing about that one was that the Muppets were kind of the icons of that whole thing. And they even had like a float, a pre-parade float here at Disneyland with like the Muppets on the float. And it was super cool. They had
one here too at Magic Kingdom.
Oh, I loved that. That was great. But yeah, so that for those 2 years, you legitimately could get into the park for free for 1 day. First year it was your birthday. The second year was if you volunteered and went through the correct process to do it. But yeah, so that doesn't really happen anymore. But you can get a free button.
That is true.
I mean,
you got to stand in line for about 25 minutes to get it, but you can get one.
Okay, while we're talking about this, let's just give a little pro tip here, because I know you love to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, everybody, yeah, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people know about the free buttons. And everybody feels like you need to go to City Hall for this. You do not need to go to City Hall for these buttons. Cast members have them all over the parks. Wherever there's a guest services kiosk, go there. They will have a button. I would even go as far as to say a lot of cashiers have the buttons. So do not spend 30 minutes of your day waiting in line at City Hall for a button.
And we discovered on our last trip with some friends that even different sections of the park have different ways of giving you buttons for your birthday, because we were with our friend Terry and it was her birthday and we were in Toy Story Land and they didn't have birthday buttons there because you don't have birthdays in Toy Story Land because it's your toy. You don't have birth. So it's your unboxing day. So they gave her a pin that said happy unboxing day. Which
that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's very cool. I like that.
Yeah, so if you want to switch it out though when you leave Toy Story Land, because no one else in the park knows what that means. But in Toy Story Land, it was special.
I don't think they have anything like that here at Disneyland, but maybe for Galaxy's Edge we'll have some new way of celebrating a birthday. I don't know.
Are you suggesting a life celebration day from the Star Wars holiday special?
That has nothing to do with your birth, though. That's a thing. Although I will say, if Thanksgiving and Christmas rolls around and they give away Life Day buttons, that would be phenomenal. I would be all about that.
Never going to happen, but I'm with you, though.
I love it. So years later in 2014, we said bye to MOUSEKEDANCE and we got Move It, Shake It, Dance, and Play It Street Party, now known as MOUSEKEDANCE. And this was, I will say, this really didn't change all that much except for screens were added. And that was kind of cool. There was a bit more audience involvement, which was nice. You know what? I shouldn't say it didn't change much. It did change quite a bit, but the floats didn't change much. The costumes didn't change much. Some new characters. The characters were Chip Dale, Jeannie, Stitch, Baloo, Louie, Phineas and Ferb, Woody, Jesse, and then on top of the gifts, we had Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, and Donald. And remind me, I'm kind of forgetting, did they come up partway through the show, or were they there the whole time? The ones
I think this one, they were there the whole time.
Okay.
But wasn't Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde in this one as well?
They did come, yes. I don't think they were initially, and then they eventually became part of it. So yes, you're right. You're right. So
yeah, this one was not my favorite. If I had to rank them, this one just falls the least. And I think it's just because at this point, this was not a must-see for me. Mm-hmm. Because even though had changed, it was still essentially the same concept. And I'm like, it's sucking up people, and that means the queues are a little emptier. So I'll pass.
Okay, so the thing I liked about this was, as I mentioned, they added screens to the floats, and the whole purpose of this was they really encouraged you to take selfies while you were enjoying the street party and then hashtag them. And then at the end of this street party, they showed all these photos, or a bunch of these photos, on the screens, and you kind of became part of the float, which I actually thought was a really cool touch. I liked it, and I honestly kind of miss it from the new show. The one thing I will say, though, is I don't want to see Mickey taking a selfie. I don't want to see a Zach Morris sized phone in Mickey's hand while he takes a selfie of himself. It just seems so out of character to me.
Well, then you clearly do not enjoy Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration, the stage show at the Magic Kingdom, with Text Me a Merry Christmas.
Have you not heard my episode on that show? I mean, I hate that song so much.
Oh, that's it. I like it, but I'm glad you enjoy I like it in a hipstery like it because I hate it, but I like it.
The only thing I love about that show is the fact that they bring in that song from Muppet Christmas Carol. It feels like Christmas at the end.
Oh yeah,
that's the only thing about that show that I enjoy. Otherwise, I'm like, no, well, you can take your disco ball sleigh and leave it backstage.
I disagree, but that's another show for another day.
Yes. But so this one was your least favorite. There were a lot of Shake songs in this. Just Shake was like a theme. The move it, Shake It was a huge part of it. I did notice in the videos I was watching, like cast members seemed to really enjoy these street parties. And I don't mean like cast members who are performing in the street parties. I mean like security and custodial and all these people that are like in the area seem to rock out to these street parties, and I kind of love that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm sure that it allows them to let their hair down, and you can't help but be happy with these things. I mean, when you stop and think about it, you're in the Magic Kingdom, dancing and having a good time with Mickey and his friends in front of Cinderella Castle. I mean, life doesn't get much better than that. And if you're a cast member, you're getting paid. So it's like, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Oh, did you just reference Hannah Montana?
Oh, good catch.
Oh, no. There's so much Miley in this episode. Ugh. Ugh. It should be like a curse word. I'll bleep whenever I say Miley. Beep.
Or we'll do like the Pee Wee Herman.
The word of the day. Ah! Boys and girls listening, every time you hear the word Miley, scream. Goodness gracious. Anywho, there was another part of this parade or street party rather that I kind of thought this one really got the audience involved, and that was you got to vote for the one of the final songs of the show. And I kind of like that.
I forgot about this. Yeah, this was a very interactive street party. Between the selfies and the voting, they really were kind of hitting on the fact that people were on their phones a lot, and they wanted them to be engaged in more than just being in the moment, which I like, but I hate at the same time.
I totally understand what you're saying when it comes to that, because I'm like, just enjoy the street party. Like, do we really need to be on our phone the whole time? But I don't know. Like I said, the whole putting them on the screens and the floats, I really liked. I thought that was a cool touch. The voting of the song where the options were Happy, For Else Happy, and then Break Free. Who sings Break Free? I don't even know that song.
You know, I have no idea.
And Shake It Off is Taylor Swift.
It might have been Miley.
Oh, no! Oh, nerd. Anyway, so I loved that about it. So you had the dance in the street with the characters. You had the take your selfies and get them put on the screen. You had the vote for a song. Very, very audience involved show. Love it. I don't know. It worked really, really well. And do you remember the song that they played when like they were putting all those photos up on the screens? Do you happen to remember? Because this just ended like a week or so ago, right? Or a couple weeks.
It just
maybe.
ended a couple weeks ago, but I have not seen this except on the YouTube video that I watched the other day. I haven't seen it in probably a good 5 or 6 years.
Well, the song that played was "When Can We Do This Again?"
Yeah.
So the song, the Owl City song from Wreck-It Ralph, that was, of course, made famous, I would say, in Paint the Night. At least that's how I know it. Is used, which I think is fantastic. And another nice thing that this street party had that none of the others have, I don't think the new one has it, was pyro. They shot some pyro off the floats at the end. Which,
yeah, there's no pyro in the new one, so that was. But that seems dangerous to me.
Oh, I love it.
You have people really close to that.
I'm at pyro, and I'm a happy boy. I'm so happy. The day we're recording this is the return of the Maleficent float in the Festival of Fantasy Parade. You know, I knew she was coming back. I just wasn't sure if she was going to be blowing bubbles, silly string, or fire. And I'm so happy that the fire is back.
Well, fans can vote on what they want to see her shoot out of her mouth.
I would seriously be all for that. Oh my goodness. If there was a game you could play on your phone as the parade goes by and whoever gets the most points gets to control the dragon, dude, I would even pay for that game. That is
maybe
goodbye, Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. Hello, Maleficent controller. Like, yes.
Maybe one day. You never know.
Oh my goodness. Can you even imagine? It would be kind of funny to see bubbles coming out of her mouth. What else
It
would we
would
have?
be.
Bubble, silly string, fire. Anything else you can think of?
Maybe like confetti.
Oh, a confetti. I like that. What have we done to Maleficent? We've made her very, very weak.
And then, as our friend Mark Willard said, words of affirmation.
That's right. That's
Just
right.
Like a nice Oprah quote out of her mouth every now and then.
Hey, if the voice of Maleficent was Oprah, come on. We're plussing the heck out of the Maleficent dragon.
Agreed.
That's all I'm saying.
Agreed.
But in any case, the fire's back. I'm very excited. So the pyro in Move It, Shake It, Dance and Play It, a.k.a. My Side to Pie, I'm all for it. I enjoyed this, but obviously you didn't so much.
Yeah, it was, again, one of those things. It was there, and, take it or leave it.
You didn't even want to like see it one last time before it went away. That's the thing. And as a local, I get it. There are definitely things that you totally take for granted. And you're like, oh, this is just in the way. And you don't experience it. It happens to me all the time. But I feel like if it's going to go away, there's usually that, let me see it one more time. And then you like really kind of appreciate it.
No, I did not.
All right. Very, very sad. So it lives on only on YouTube for you. But in any case, that brings us to this year. Goodbye, My Side to Pie. Hello, My Side My. That is Move It, Shake It, Mouskedance It Street Party. Now, I gotta admit, first of all, worst name of them all. Terrible.
Absolutely terrible. And I think I didn't know this until you sent me a link that there's...
I didn't know this either. I simply Googled Mouskedance, and this is what popped up. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's from like the 1970s, I think is what it said. Let me pull it. I'm sorry.
No, it was a Walt Disney's Mickey Mouse Club Mouskedance and Other Mouseketeer Favorites vinyl record. And I didn't know that the word Mouskedance existed before My Sci My. I had no idea.
And it looks like it was released in 1970. So kind of there towards the end of the Mickey Mouse Club in the 60s. It looks like Jimmy is on the front with his guitar and Annette Funicello is dancing on this, the cover of this vinyl. So they were kind of referencing the the Mouseketeers. But again, this is just like a drop in the bucket of Disney history, and yet they found it and decided to name this street party after it.
And that's all they did with it, because the song, the Mouskedance song from that vinyl record, is nowhere to be had in the Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance It Street Party. At first I was like, oh, okay, like, I guess this is like some Disney history. I appreciate that. And then I'm like, this is a song. I'm like, yep, this is definitely not in the show. They just took the word Mouse Could Dance. So, alrighty. But
it's so random. So random. Like I want to know, I want to be a fly on the wall of the meetings that led up to this decision, because I just want to know the discussion and how it went and how they landed on that.
I'm really curious what the studies show about street parties at Magic Kingdom, because we're now going on 10 years. As I mentioned, the first one was 2009, is now 2019. Consistently having a street party in Magic Kingdom in the hub multiple times a day. So this is profitable or beneficial in some way, shape, or form. And I'm kind of curious what it is, because it's not like Magic Kingdom doesn't have a parade to do every day. It's so interesting to me that it's lasted
I'm gonna
this
guess because entertainment is only judged by the number of photo passes that they can sell.
Mm-hmm.
There's no photo pass photographers out there taking pictures, so they're not selling any pictures from it. But it's got to be ranked high on guest surveys, and also probably it just consumes people, that something that they can enjoy that they're not expecting. Because I guarantee your average daily guest does not know this happens, and they just happen to be standing there at the right time when the music starts to kick, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, look at this! This is so great! Oh my! And look, we get to dance with Mickey!" And so that's probably what they're going off of.
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's a good point. And I also believe, my guess would be that, like, when people go to guest services complaining, like, "Hey, I didn't get to see Sebastian," or "I didn't get to meet Mickey," or whatever it may be. Oh, well, make sure you catch the street party. It's happening 2 more times today. You'll have a really great opportunity to get close and personal with some of your favorite characters. Like, that's probably my guess, but it is interesting. I would have never thought back in 2009 that this would survive 10 years. I mean, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy to me.
Well, dance parties in general seem to have a lasting power at Walt Disney World. So
yeah, I guess they're cheap. But okay, so this started, and as I said, like, the title alone, it does not excite me. And so I was like, all right, we're going to have another street party. What's this going to be like? And it starts with this, "Come on, everybody, get your ears on" song that I was like, oh no. Oh, no, 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 no. And then I was like, it can't get out of my head. Kind of love it. I can't even explain, like, the emotional roller coaster I went on with this Ears On song.
It is the wormiest of the earworms I've ever heard.
It really is. But it's kind of has the opposite effect of It's a Small World, where I feel like when you first hear It's a Small World, you're like, it's a world of laughter. Oh, this is pleasant. I'm really enjoying this. Oh. And then 15 minutes later, you're like, oh, goodness gracious, what is happening? Whereas this, for me anyway, it was, oh my God, I'm being accosted. Oh my God. And then you're like, by the end of it, you're just singing along. You're like, get your ears on. It was such a weird experience for me.
Yeah, and it's available on iTunes if you want to listen to it.
Is it really? Oh, you shouldn't have told me that. I'm so gonna get it. Oh, so this is kind of the theme song of the whole Mickey and Minnie celebration in the parks. And of course, it's a huge part of Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance It Street Party. I do want to go through the characters that they have as part of this street party. We have Donald, Jose, Panchito, so the 3 caballeros, Clarabelle Cow. Who is the male cow with her? I have no idea who that is.
He's not a cow, thank you. He's a horse, because he's Horace Horsecollar.
Okay, is he from a short?
I mean, he's as old as Clarabelle is. Like,
yeah, I know he's an
Mickey
old character.
shorts.
I just don't know who he is.
Yeah, back in the old black and white Mickey Mouse days.
Okay, same with the female squirrel. I'm like, who is this?
Okay, yes, that's Clarice, which I have done some research on her because I'd never heard of her. She made her debut in one short with Chip and Dale back in the day, but apparently is huge in Tokyo.
Disney is so weird. People for years will be saying, please, bring me Darkwing Duck. Bring me some, I don't know, gummy bears. Bring me Wayne Zelinsky. Yet, they ignore that, and they bring, what's her name again?
Clarice.
Clarice. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume you're probably the only one with the Wayne Szalinski.
Oh no! Very popular request.
But I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of people from Japan that come to Walt Disney World that are expecting to see Clarice, because, like I said, she has a big presence over there. In fact, she is featured in Fantasmic in Tokyo Disney.
All right. Like, that's fine. I get it. Like, overseas, I understand it. It's just, okay, we have a spot for a character in Magic Kingdom, and that's who you choose.
I totally agree. And I even feel that way about Jose and Panchito. Like, I am so excited they're there. Love them. But how random that for Mickey Mouse's 90th birthday, they are chosen to be a part of that celebration.
In the last 3, 4, or 5 years, the Three Caballeros have gotten this massive fandom that I cannot explain. I kind of get it for Southern California, large Hispanic community here, so I kind of get it here, but Magic Kingdom, I don't get it nearly as much. I don't know.
I love it. I'm a big Three Caballeros fan. Don't ask me why, I just love them. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're just unique, and each of them have such distinctive personalities. And I just like those deep cuts. But Clarice, listen, I'm happy she's there. I love it because I love when Disney goes deep, but I just don't get it.
I love the deep cuts as well. There are just so many other deep cuts I would prefer to see over the characters that they choose. And my guess is they're just like, well, we made 2 costumes. We only need 1 here in Tokyo. Let's ship 1 to Magic Kingdom. I don't know. There are just so many. I should do an episode about that, the deep cut characters I would like to see. Put Roger Rabbit on there. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, but, I appreciate that.
We had him at Disneyland not all that long ago.
That's true. But now I'm going to just take you for a second. Speaking of deep cut characters, too, one of the things they're doing as well during this celebration is they are offering rare character meet and greets at the flagpole every day.
Oh, yes, I did see that. That's kind of cool. Who was there? I just saw, who was there? Oh, Chicken Little, right? Was there?
Yes, I was there the day I saw the new street party, and we happened to look, and I'm like, that is Chicken Little and Abby Mallard. And I mean, when else are you going to meet Chicken Little and Abby Mallard unless you get in a time machine and go back to 2003? So I definitely took my picture. But Remy and Emil have been there.
Oh, we're going to be seeing them a lot pretty soon in Epcot, I'm sure.
Well, that's true. And Prince John and Friar Tuck and Robin Hood and Little John. So there's lots of fun characters that, unless you're going to do a Run Disney, and yeah, I think Jeff and I are on the same page about that. We ain't doing that anytime soon.
I'm not paying anybody to run. That's not happening.
But you're absolutely right. There's no excuse why they can't bring out a Darkwing Duck during that day, or some of these old gummy bears. Anything would be great.
So I'm actually going to the 90s night at Disneyland in March, and I'm very excited because they're bringing out some Afternoon Avenue characters, and I am not the type of person that typically waits in line for a character. The last characters I waited in line for, because I had to, was with you, and it was Chip and Dale as their little dinosaur characters.
Oh, the dinosaurs, yeah.
That was a must. But some of the characters that are hopefully going to be out at 90s night, I'm pretty darn excited about. So that's cool.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's going to be great.
That was a massive tangent about Clarice. And in addition, of course, we have Mickey and Minnie, who are the guests of honor, live singers now on the float with Mickey and Minnie. As well as we have Daisy, Chip, Dale, Pluto, Goofy, Max as part of this parade. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good mix of characters, I would say. But some really random ones. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel like they did a great job of pleasing the fanboys and pleasing your average guest. Because you're going to get the Fab Five, but you're also getting Max. I mean, where else are you going to see Max, And people who like a Goofy movie and all that, they're going to be pumped to see that.
Yeah. So what were some of your favorite things? I mean, it seems like you like this one much more than My Side to Pie, yes?
Yeah. So something about that song just really brought some energy to the hub that as soon as it started playing, people got into it.
Did you feel the way I did, though, where at first you're like, oh my God? Or did you immediately fall in love with it?
I was indifferent to it at first. it took seeing it in the actual performance to make me really like be obsessed with it.
Okay.
But that's the way it is for most things with me. Once they're in context, I kind of get it. So once the parade float started coming through, I was a little disappointed that they still like use the same floats and just kind of threw some extra streamers on there.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I'm pretty sure as long as this street party exists, no matter how many different versions they have, it will be the same floats. I think the float that changed the most was probably the one that Mickey and Minnie are on, and they kind of made it smaller. It felt like, not height-wise. It feels like there used to be more of a tower in the center, and they took that off. But yes, they're the same floats. So
I love that everybody is dressed differently, at least for the most part. That they kind of, even though they have like the confetti colors, white is kind of the base color. Mm-hmm. And I think it brings a touch of class to it that is unintentional, but noticeable. Yeah, the backs of all the vests and shirts and stuff that the dancers are wearing all have the Mickey Mouse Club sort of logo with Mickey's face, which I love. But specifically Mickey and Minnie's costume, as you mentioned, mostly white with like a confetti style, a burst of color all over it in certain areas. And to me, it just reminds me of like those confetti cupcakes. You ever, those cupcakes that you bite into and it's just like this mix of color inside there? Like that's what it just looks like to me. And I kind of love it. And frankly, I'm not really much of a Dapper Day person. I'm not going to go out of my way to create a costume for Dapper Day, but I'll be disappointed if I don't see somebody in this dress and suit that Mickey are wearing at a Dapper Day, because they're kind of awesome. Seen little girls wearing the mini dress.
Oh, do they sell them?
No, but like the one little girl I saw, because I was like, oh my gosh, I love your dress. And I was telling the mom, I'm like, where did you get that? And she's like, oh, I made it for her when we saw the pictures released.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so the suit especially, like, I'm not going to lie, I would wear that to a wedding. Heck, I would get married in it.
Yeah. No, I love Minnie's dress. So the thing about Minnie's dress is like it's white, and then it has like this like, it's not netting, but it's like sheer over it. And then there's like the confetti is caught between the actual dress and this like sheer see-through netting on the outside. Clearly I don't read Vogue, so I'm not very good at describing these things, but I just love it. Not a fan of Mickey's pants, shorts, whatever they are. They're too short to be pants, but they're too long to be shorts. So they look like culottes.
I don't remember the pants all that well, to be honest. For me, it's the suit jacket that is just stunning. I love it.
Yeah.
I might have to get that jacket for like D23 or something. Like that might have to.
It'd be easy to make.
Probably. That is not where like my time is well spent. That is not fun for me making that. But if somebody out there wants to make me a suit jacket that looks like Mickey's, I will absolutely wear that at the D23 Expo.
You want to throw your measurements out there just in case?
So they can contact me if they really want to look into this. I doubt anybody will. But yeah, it's quite dapper. Is all I can say. Any other? Sorry, go ahead.
The floats. I was going to say the floats come out and they kind of make the circle around the hub like they did previously, and Mickey and Minnie's float stops right dead center in front of Cinderella Castle. So my little tip here is, if you want, in my opinion, the best spot to view this, stand right there in front of Cinderella Castle, closer to on the side of the street, closer to the partner statue, and you will be dead center. Right there in the midst of it.
Now, one of the things I love about the street party is that you really don't have to pick a spot when it comes to this, because you can move all over. Because so much of the show, you can cross the street, get in the street, dance. So, like, I know when I'm there, I usually have a camera and I'm, like, jumping from one float to the next, getting photos and whatever. And just, like, really enjoying moments at each thing, which is one of my favorite things about it. Whereas a parade, you're just standing on one spot and waiting as everything passes. And I don't know, you just kind of have a bit more control over what you're enjoying at what moment when it comes to the street parties. I really like them. Yeah. I really like the street parties.
I can agree with that. But again, if you just want to stay in one place, that's the place to stay.
Yeah.
So once they go, this street party is different as we mentioned earlier, because it has the live performers, which no street party did earlier. As far as singing, they used to have the MC, they had the dancers and the street, the stilt walkers, but these actually have live singing there, which I think is quite a task and an accomplishment, because that cannot be easy to do.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a nice addition. And one of the things I'll say about this that I was a little disappointed by is Mickey and Minnie never leave their float, if I'm remembering correctly.
No, they stay put the whole time.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. For a celebration of Mickey and Minnie, I feel like a lot of people would really like to see Mickey and Minnie. I get it, like they'd probably be bombarded, so it probably makes the most sense just to leave them on their float. But I was a little bit like, I felt like so many of the characters were so interactive with the guests, and it's like, oh, Mickey and Minnie, oh, you're too big for us? Sorry. We'll stay back here, us minions.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, I didn't mean to say minions at a Disney park.
There's no minions in this float.
Sorry.
So yeah, then as soon as they get in place, like they really don't waste any time. They introduce all the characters and everybody, gets pumped, and then they invite all the guests out into the street to begin dancing.
Yeah, and that kind of seems like it with this. Whereas before, there was so much more. There was, hey, take the selfies and send them to us. Hey, let's do a conga. Hey, let's, what else was there to do? I'm blanking now. But there's something else I mentioned. Oh, choose the song that you want to hear.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's just so much more to do as a guest, I felt like. Whereas this one is kind of like, just dance with us. Okay, get back on the sidewalk. We're going to leave now. So,
well, I want to say they play like 2 or 3 songs, though. So you're out there for a good time.
Absolutely. Once again, if you have young ones with you, I would highly suggest seek this out. Your kid is going to have a blast, like dancing with these characters and whatever. And I don't know what it is, but the performers in this show specifically, or especially, I should say, really seem to be into it. Like they seem to have a lot of fun in this, more so than just performing in a parade.
I totally agree. Yeah, you could tell everybody was really bringing some energy to it. And maybe it's just because the show's brand new and they want to show it off, but I feel like everybody was having a good time.
Yeah, it was good times. Now, I do want to mention they ended this one with a song that for years I've been like, is the Walt Disney Company ever going to use this song? I don't think they have. Perhaps they have in the past. But just the, hey, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. That pop song from like, what is it, the 80s?
Yeah.
And they like did their own version of it for this. And has Disney ever used this before that you can recollect?
Not that I recall, and I don't believe they should ever use it again.
Really? Oh, I think it just makes sense, right? Come on.
I mean,
hey,
it
Mickey.
was cutesy, but it just, to me, felt forced. I don't know. It just didn't flow well for me.
To me, it feels obvious, but not forced.
To me, it felt like they were trying to be cool, but it was 30 years too late in a sense.
Well, I feel like most of the music they choose for these things are pretty old songs, but like songs that everybody knows, even if they're not really sure why they know it or how they know it. It's just like in your subconscious somewhere. But I don't know. I liked it. You clearly didn't.
Well, I mean, it just wasn't my favorite part. I thought it kind of, for being like the climax of the whole thing, I thought it was kind of anticlimactic. But I will say Mickey does something during this that bothered me as well. And
did he take more selfies?
No. So like I use this example on the Mad Chatters podcast, is that, do you remember back when Taylor Swift like first started becoming popular?
No.
And she stay with me. And she started like going to award shows and like winning a lot of awards. And it was like not a surprise because everybody knew like, oh, Taylor Swift, she's taken off and she's really popular. But every time she won an award, she gave this face like, oh my gosh, me? Oh my gosh. So like during the Mickey song, like every time they're like, Mickey, it's your birthday, he was like, oh, what? Me? And I'm like,
well, wait a second. To be fair, he's like, what? It was months ago.
That's true. I concede that. But like the whole time, it's just like Mickey's so surprised that we're having this birthday celebration. And I'm like, he's 90 years old. He's the most recognizable face in the world. I think we can stop with the false humility with Mickey Mouse.
I love it. Speaking of celebrities and awesome facial expressions, did you see Glenn Close when she got her Golden Globe just a few weeks ago?
I did, yes.
That was amazing.
I mean, that's true surprise. Now,
that was amazing.
False humility, which I feel like is what we see in this street party. I don't know. It's just, to me, like, I get it. Like, it's a surprise. We're celebrating Mickey's birthday, or whatever kind of shtick they're trying to go with here. But it just seemed the whole Mickey song, along with that, like every time Mickey's name was mentioned, he gave this "oh shucks" kind of look. It was like, I'm out.
All right. Well, I just want to, since I threw Glenn Close in there, I just want her to win the Academy Award. She needs an Academy Award so badly. She is spectacular in everything she does, even Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians.
Have you seen The Wife?
It's fantastic.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
She's wonderful. No, I saw it months ago. It was really good.
You know who's not rooting for Glenn Close?
Who?
Two people, Lady
Gaga
and Patti LuPone.
Oh, yes. Patti LuPone is probably upset. Yeah, that's a whole story. Look up Patti LuPone, Sunset Boulevard, if you want to know that story. Just Google it. But Glenn Close is such a phenomenal actress who she's won plenty of awards and got tons of work and recognition. But I just always feel, what my whole argument is with her? She is as good as Meryl Streep, yet has maybe 10% of what Meryl Streep does. And I feel like so often people are like, oh, I'm producing a movie. Get Meryl Streep. She won't do it. Get Glenn Close. I'm like, no. Glenn Close should be a #1 option. She's so good.
I could agree. I love Glenn Close. Don't get me wrong.
And she's so beautiful. Do
you remember the TV show she did on FX some years ago?
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch it. But
I saw a few seasons. It was really good.
I'm sure it was. She's so insanely talented. I saw her perform in Sunset Boulevard on Broadway just a couple of years ago, and
I'm so jealous.
I'm obsessed with that show. I'm obsessed with her. I love her work. In any case,
me too. When are we going to get a Sunset Boulevard movie?
It's still in discussions, and I have a story for you about that off the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's but it's still in discussions and supposedly will happen. And Glenn Close was actually talking about it pretty recently, and it really, really, really needs to happen because it's Sunset Boulevard is one of the greatest movies ever made. Dorman Nesmond, I miss you so much. And Disney's Hollywood Studios. We have gone on such a crazy tangent here. I don't even know how to bring this back to Move It, Shake It, MouseKeDance It. Other than to say, is there anything else you want to add about this? Or shall we just urge to people to get their ears on?
Well, the final thing I wanted to say that I thought was really neat that they did at the very end when they go back to the final song is at the very end, instead of pyro, they shoot out they're not koosh balls, but they're like the fuzzy.
What is Rosie O'Donnell on the floats? Jeez.
Don't get me started on a tangent there now.
Oh, koosh balls. I have koosh balls from the show that were
Really?
Yes. I got to go to a taping one time. I tried 12 times. First time I tried, I was literally the cutoff. I was the next person to be let in, and they cut me off. I got in once. I got koosh balls. Heaven. Anyway,
wow.
Sorry. So not koosh balls. What are they?
They're not koosh balls, but they're like that size, but they're like fluffy balls. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't see them. In fact, I was kind of disappointed. There was no confetti. There was no pyro. In the video I saw, I didn't see anything get shot. So I'm happy to hear there's something. That's good.
Yeah, they shoot out of all the floats except the Mickey float, if that makes any sense. And it reminded me back at Hollywood Studios about 10 years ago for one of the Pixar parades. They shot out little not rubber, but like that, almost like a stress ball, which you would squeeze if you had a stress ball. Those kind of balls that were like the Pix-It Play, whatever parade it was.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It kind of had that same vibe. So kids were grabbing these, except they weren't marked with any sort of logo or anything. They were just what you buy at a craft store to make
But it's something you can keep. It's not like confetti that you throw away, right?
No. I mean, most people probably throw them away because, like I said, they're just something you can get at Michael's or Hobby Lobby or something. But
that's where Disney got them.
Yeah, most likely.
No, they need to brand those. Those need to be collectibles. They'll brand ones and sell those in the store. That's what they'll do.
Exactly.
Awesome. Anyway, guys, come on, everybody, get your ears on. Bump, 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 bump. So good.
It really is.
Anyway, I really enjoyed this. I will say Mai Sai Mai, it's here to stay for a while, I'm sure. Mickey will be 90 for probably a decade now. And, oh my God, this will be here for his 100th birthday.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, because if anything, this is what I was thinking about with the Disneyland parade that they did back in, 95, that stayed till 2000. No, started in 2005 and went till 2015.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the fireworks show even. I mean, we still have Remember Dreams Come True sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I got a feeling this is going to be in the similar vein. Like Mickey's 90th is going to be well in the rearview mirror before we get a new show.
Yeah. So from Mai Sai Kai to Mai Sai to Pai to Mai Sai Mai, the street parties of Magic Kingdom, to me, a blast. So it sounds like you'll go and see this one a few more times, yeah, before you get sick of it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely so. And anytime somebody new is with me at the Magic Kingdom, this will be a must-do.
So anyways, guys, that means it's trivia time! All right, sir. Would you like to ask me a trivia question first, or shall I ask you?
I'll ask first, because mine is about Clarice, the chipmunk.
Gosh.
And so I made reference to the fact that she's only been in one short, and it was back in 1952, I believe, called Two Chips and a Miss, in which Chip and Dale fight for her affection. And she has a job, and she works in a certain place doing a certain thing. So what was her profession?
She's a tailor, and she makes bathing suits.
That is very incorrect, but you said it with such confidence. I kind of second-guessed myself for a minute there.
Nope, I was just confident that I have no idea. Is she an ice cream scooper, rather?
No, she actually works at a nightclub. She's a singer.
Oh.
And the nightclub is called the Acorn Club.
Oh.
So
does she have a good voice?
Come on up and see her sometime.
Is that what she sounds like?
No, I have no idea. I've never seen the short, but
okay. I thought you were going to ask me the name of the short, and I was like, I have legitimately no idea. I keep seeing this character around. I have no idea. But thank you for asking me about Clarice, whom every time you say her name, all I think of is Silence of the Lambs. This is the weirdest character. Anyway, my trivia question for you is this. We're talking about how Mai Sai Kai, Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It was kind of a spin-off of Celebrate, a street party parade at Disneyland Resort. I mentioned it was a bomb. People hated it. Do you have any idea how long it ran?
Oh my, like in number of weeks or months or years?
I don't know. Was it weeks,
days?
Months, or years? Or days?
Since everybody hated it, I'm going to go with 3 months.
No, it lasted longer than that. They invested. This was, I will say, the nice thing about it was brand new. Like, this was not recycled floats territory. So it did run a year and a half. It was from March 2009 till November 2010, which is a very, very, very short run for a parade in a Disney park. And do you happen to know what replaced it in 2011?
Oh, 2011. Is it still there?
It is. In fact, it just recently got back.
For a daytime parade?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I feel like I should know this.
You should. It's the currently running parade at Disneyland Park. Yeah.
It's not Paint the Night.
Nope.
It's the Pixar.
No. So it's it's been gone for a while. It's Mickey's Soundsational Parade.
Oh yes, I've seen this. Yes, because he plays the drums. Yeah.
So we had the Mickey Soundsational Parade since 2011, but it's kind of an off and on parade. It's interesting because with last summer we had Pixar Fest, and so they brought over the Pixar Play Parade. So that's when Mickey Soundsational went away, and I'm pretty sure it didn't come back because then we got the Christmas Parade. And now this is the first time back since like early last year. So it's been a bit of a hiatus, I believe, for Mickey Soundsational. It's a nice parade, but I gotta tell you, I'm one of those freaks that loved Celebrate a Street Party. I would
What was
stop
it that people
every time.
hated the most?
It was taken over. Oh goodness, now I'm forgetting the name of the parade that was before it. But it was a very traditional kind of festival of fantasy-ish sort of parade that they had going on. So to go from such a classic parade with such, big floats and highly detailed floats to kind of street party floats, it was jarring, and I think people really hated the fact that it just wasn't as grand. And I totally get that. For me, I loved the street party portion of it. Like, I believe it stopped 3 or 4 times along the parade route to basically throw the street party like you have in the hub. So I loved that. A lot of people, I guess, did not love that so much.
So they hated more than what it wasn't, more than what it was.
Yes, I think that's a fair statement. And I don't know, I loved it so much. It was if they could bring that back, I would say do it. I love it so much. But in any case, that was the trivia. Jeremy, why don't you let folks know where they can find you and your fabulous podcast?
Well, you can find me and my co-host Eric every 2 weeks on the Mad Chatters podcast. Also, you can find us on Twitter at Mad Chatters and on Instagram at Mad Chatters, and also at www.madchatters.net, which is our website. We talk all things Disney, Walt Disney World mostly, but everything around the Disney universe.
Excellent, and I highly endorse it. Of course, folks, it is almost a new month. We're so close to February, which means a new Disney music playlist has been released from Disney Coast to Coast. So make sure you sign up for that over at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. Just click on playlist there. While you're there, you can check out all of our social media links as well. And don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes to help other Disney fans find the show more easily. I also want to let you guys know there are tons of new rewards over on our Patreon page over at patreon.com/DIZNEYCTC. That's patreon.com/DisneyCTC. You'll get some behind the scenes bonuses, Q&A live streams, early episode releases, magical bands shipped to you. You could even be a guest on Trivia Time and so much more, all starting for just $1 per month. So head to patreon.com/DisneyCTC. Shout out to my patrons, Philip, Rio, Monet, Anna, Diego, and James. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com.